Welcome back. Let me get rid of my face here. Welcome back, everybody. It's been a couple of weeks. So, for those that don't know me, I'm working on a game in C++ in a game engine that I wrote with my husband in C++. And we're not using any AI for this project. And that's the long and short of it. We've been working on a functional prototype now on stream on and off stream for probably 2 months. And I've been getting a little burnt out of ImGUI, which is what we're using for our UI. So today I'm going to be working on level design for the first thing you see when you start the game, which will be the entrance to the dungeon. But yeah, I'm back. Should be back to streaming a couple times a week, maybe every other day-ish. I went on a vacation to see my mom, which was wonderful in South Carolina. And then I got back in on Saturday night, and then Monday morning really early, I got on the plane again to go to Washington, D.C. for a work trip. And then I got back there Thursday night, and this was last week, Thursday night, and then worked the next week, and then that brings me to this weekend. So it's been lots of adventure. I, for one, love traveling. I love getting out of the house. So it was really fun. And I got some tan, which was fun. But I'm happy to be back in the swing of things and working on the game. So I did not get much progress done, nor did my husband. We both just kind of took the time to unplug, but I will show you what I did get done in the meantime. We were working on the equipment menu, the front end, because the back end had been completed already, so I'll show you that. I'm happy with it for functional prototype. So if we come in here, we can pick class, pick wizard, and wizard has its own special weapon. If we hover over here, we can see the details down here in this detail window. So it tells you that it's a channeling weapon and it's a pine staff. There's a bug right now with the attribute showing common. That's actually the rarity, but I decided I will fix that later, because I'm not actually sure why it's happening. But I also don't care for the sake of functional prototype. The attribute can be plugged into the rarity stat. So you can see the equipment here. You can also see, if you click on the eye icon for any of the other players, you can see their equipment and hover over it. And that'll be a crucial part of the game, is seeing what your opponents are doing at any time. So the bots just always pick barbarian, but if you at the beginning of your turn, you'll be prompted to change equipment. So you can come in here and click the equipment menu. And then you can select. So you only have 15 seconds, and you have to select and click confirm. So now I've got to wait for the next loop. But right now we're just simulating going through the turns. So when the loop comes back around, I can go into my equipment menu and select whatever equipment I want. And then that'll be equipped for that turn. Well, it'll be equipped forever unless I unequip it. But you can only equip items at the beginning of the turn. All right, so now I'm able to change equipment. So I've selected those, and I can click confirm. So now you can see that I have my black iron helm and a black iron chest piece, still my pine staff, and then doeskin boots. You can see their stats here. It's pretty simple, and this is all just prototype graphics. Except for what I'll be working on today, level design. I will be doing production graphics. But the UI is prototype because things are subject to change. So if I click into the equipment menu, you'll see that if I hover over this one, which is not selected or equipped, you can see in the bottom right the details of what I currently have, and then to compare with what I would be equipping. All right. So that's all we got done, or all I got done. And then my husband has been working on the big daddy, which is the card effect resolution, which he actually has a PR up now, which is really exciting. That's just for like getting all the types established and all the plumbing for that. But I don't think I'm going to look at it tonight. I don't have much time, and I'm going to go to bed at 9 o'clock Central today, because I'm starting to go to the gym now in the mornings. But I will show you what my plan is for today. So what you see here is just a bunch of images that I grabbed from Pinterest, and I'm going to be, so this was kind of like the blocking out of the different scenes I want to have, because I want there to be a castle, and then a battle on the stairs of the castle, and then a battle in the throne room for the progression of the game. And I'm going to be starting here with forest path, and actually I'm thinking that you'll start in the forest and then you'll get through go through the forest path a little bit, and you'll see that you can't get into the castle directly, but you will be able to see this old mossy gate. And you can go through the gate, and then you'll go through like a more traditional dungeon, and then you'll pop out. I was gonna have you pop out here, but that's too much forest. I think you're gonna pop out right into a rocky meadow, and then from the meadow get to the castle stairs, and then into the throne room. Yeah, more or less formally. So I can show you that. He's a better C++ developer than I am, so I always take his advice, but we're kind of in an interesting spot because I'm leading this game project. Are we logged in? Oh. Oh, goodness sake. Hold on a minute. Okay. Well, I actually can't show you RPR because I can't authenticate because my phone is being used to stream. But anyway, yeah, more or less. So generally, we review each other's code. In this situation, we're reviewing each other's code. He's not reviewing mine so much. He'll look at it, and if he sees any obvious gotchas, he'll point them out. But he's more assisting, and I'm more driving this project. So he has less input on what I'm doing, and I have generally more, or theoretically more, on what he's doing because he's helping me. But it's an interesting situation because he's much better at C++ than I am, so he can give me more feedback generally than I can give him. But short answer, yes, we are. Hi, Yaya Zachary. Did I pronounce your name right? Welcome to the stream. All right, so let's get into it. I think I'm trying to figure out what I want to start with. So earlier today, I had just started blocking out what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing the gate here. And I know that I want to have, so I put a little, just an armature of a person in there as like for scale. And I'm going to keep things more or less modular, tile based. And that's not for any kind of asset reusability. It's going to be because the look that I'm going for very much requires high texture resolution. And I don't want to go up to 4K. And I don't even really want to go up to 2K if I can avoid it. So I want to keep my models as small as possible so that I'm not having to stretch detail over a wide surface area. All right. Game development is hard. I agree. And C++ is also really hard. All right. I'm going to move Photoshop over here so I can have a visual reference to look at. And then I guess I'm just going to start blocking in because I know I want to have I know I want to have a narrow path here, and then here is where the gate's going to be. And I'm trying to think about in the game world what the gate would be there for, because it grants me the ability to let the character have a secret pathway into the castle courtyard. But why would there be a secret pathway in the game world? I haven't quite figured that out yet. So blocking out, we want good size cliff. Is that 18? Oh. 6. Okay. That feels like it should be pretty narrow, and then I'll be sculpting as we go, but we want him to go just a straight channel with rocks and some trees leading up here, but what I'm trying to decide on is why would there be an entrance into this castle that's unguarded? And it could just be, if I cover it up with enough moss, then I think that question goes away because it'll be so old that no one will have been actively maintaining it for a long time. So the question of what was the purpose of the store? Why isn't anyone guarding it? Why would there just be an entrance to a tunnel that leads into your castle courtyard right here? That might go away if it's sufficiently old enough. Have you ever seen oh, this is Blender. Blender is free and I highly recommend it. It's 3D modeling software. Have any of you guys seen the movie The Secret Garden that came out in the late 80s, early 90s? There is a scene when this girl finds the secret garden. She's at this old manor and she finds this wall that's completely covered in vines. And because she's already found this old metal key, and as she brushes away the vines, she sees a little keyhole for the key to go in. I'm going for that vibe. So yeah, I guess we could just have stumbled upon an escape hatch. So that's what I'm doing today. It's just blocking it out. Oh yeah, so my asset pipeline, so we make 3D models in Blender, and then we don't use GLTF. So we do ASIMP to import into our own custom NCA mesh file. And there are some limitations there for sure. We can't handle multiple meshes in a scene. So right now we have an expectation of one mesh per scene. That's a major bummer. We can't handle lights. We don't do lights or materials or anything from Blender. So Blender just gives us the meshes and the animations. And then what we do from there, oh, and the UV maps. Then we take the UV maps and the mesh and we port them into Substance Painter. And from there we generate the textures that I need for the shader. And then I will take the FBX from Blender directly and then go right into our NCA asset format. We have a converter tool that we built. So we use ASIMP to go from FBX into NCA format for the mesh. And then we use Substance Painter to then paint the textures. And then we use our same asset importer, NCA converter to convert into NCA. And then I'm going to show you this part. We have a asset manifest here where we can specify textures, meshes, collider stuff, cube maps, and then we can just access them directly in the game. I don't think I'll actually get to the point where I'm generating any meshes tonight. I might, but for now I'm just blocking. But GLTF is super cool. No, it's not. Yeah, ASM can, well, ASM can do FBX files. And I think ASM can do, let's see, ASM can do FBX file for sure. Probably GLTF. I know it can do Wavefront. Those are the only, or the OBJs. Those are only the only two I've ever tried. But it can import those just into like data that you can use. Hi, Monsi. I am back. Yeah, back into a regular routine too. So today we're doing level design. I'm blocking out the entrance to the cave, or to the dungeon here. So Mika was saying, so you import from Blender to FBX, and yes, exactly. Yep. So Blender exports as FBX, and then ASM takes the FBX file, and then we use ASM to convert the FBX file into our NCA format. And then we can work with that directly. How have you been, Monsi? I am back from my vacation and work trip that were back to back. So Yaya says, this looks interesting. Where are you on the process of building the game? So I can show you quickly. Got the entire game planned out as far as all the systems and stuff are documented. We have the networking plugged in for multiplayer. I think everything we need for, well, not everything we need for multiplayer, but most of what we need for multiplayer is blocked out. You can do lobby joining and such, class selection, and then now this is the part that we're really needing a lot of work on. We're working on functional prototype, so my husband is doing the back end. So if you see here, all of this is sent over the wire networked. So you can do card drawing, equipment selection. No, not right now because it's phase driven and we're not in the right phase for it, but equipment selection, inventory management. And that is about it at the moment. So I would say we are 25%, maybe 10% of the way done with a functional prototype. Maybe 25% done with functional prototype. And I'm actually just burnt out of doing the functional prototyping at the moment because one can only spend so much time in MGUI before you get tired of it. But yeah, we can equip things now, Monsi. That was what I did over the 3 weeks I've been out, which I really did not get a lot of time to work on the game. But you can also see when you hover, you can see the details of things you have equipped, which is pretty cool. And you can also see what your opponents have equipped. And you can see what's in their inventory too if it's during the change equipment prompt. So you can see what Smellerbee has in their equipment. And they have nothing selected except for their weapon, which is in the white box. But you cannot equip things for Smellerbee. But you can equip your own stuff. Oh, if you're fast enough. So Meek was saying, I've coded a little Python script that runs Blender headlessly and exports GLTF from a blend file. Nice. Yeah, I should get into the Python scripting game for Blender, and I just never have. So yeah, as far as like, let's say that this was our asset, so we would go in here, we would manually click export, make sure that the configurations are nice. Z forward, Y up is what we want. We want this to be an FBX units scale, otherwise things are 100 times too small, I think. I can't remember if it's too small or too big. Then we would export. Then we would grab, say it was this video, this video was our FBX file. We'd grab it and copy and paste it into our raw assets folder. Put it right here. And then we would update, and this part is not scripted, this is manual. Then I would come in here and I would update the mesh path. So I would say I would add a mesh right here to point to this one. Then I'd run the tool, and so that will automatically convert it from an FBX to an NCA, and it will put it here. And now I'm free to use it. So that's the mesh process. And then for textures, I would then open the FBX in Substance Painter after doing the export in Blender, and then in Substance Painter, I would save out. I have a custom template for how I want my textures. Then I would save them out and then copy and paste them into the raw folder here, come back to the manifest, add them here, add the textures here, run it again, and then I can use those in the game engine. So some scripting would be nice. Mika, I thought you were talking about you had written your own UI. That's very hardcore. I think most people, what do they use? Qt? I've never, or Qt? I don't know how it's pronounced. I've never used it. I think it'll be fine. I really do. We'll see. If I don't see any reason why we can't make MGUI look good. But that is hardcore that you were rolling your own UI. I mean, this obviously looks like MGUI, but it's only because I haven't spent any amount of time making it not look like MGUI. I mean, this looks less like MGUI, but I mean, this is just, I want a square button. I don't care about how it looks at this stage, but maybe I'm being naive, but I mean, you can have whatever font you want. You can create whatever image you want, so therefore you can have your buttons look like anything you want them to. And you can create your own animations. You can do font scaling. So I don't see why we can't use MGUI as a production UI, so I'm going to try it. So far, so good. Yeah, there are things in MGUI that I still chafe against the fact that it's an immediate mode renderer and it's confusing, and it does not, one thing I will say against it, it does not lend itself to clean code. I'll show you my equipment UI class. So in order to keep this sane, this is what I've been working on over the past couple of weeks. So I have a UI class and then I have a controller class. The controller class is unit testable. I don't think I actually added unit tests for the controller because in order to, by the time we're at the equipment selection part, so at the equipment controller, by the time we're at this state, I have to mock so many things and I just didn't find it worth it to unit test the simple logic. I probably should, but like, for example, I have to have started the game, and then I have to have 4 players, and then each of those players has to have equipment and has to have already started their class. And there's a lot of setup. Otherwise, assertions will blow up, and I can't actually test. But anyway, to keep this sane, this is what my UI class looks like for the equipment. And MGUI, you can think of it like as every frame you are telling it how to build up the entire UI. So I have this draw equipment icon, draw inventory menu, draw inventory section, and draw inventory section tile method. And if we look in here, I try to keep it just raw UI concerns here. I don't have any, or I have as little of like the game logic concerns here as possible. Those are just handled in the controller. And that has kept it as neat as can be, but it is very unwieldy. And I just got tired of it, honestly. I'm taking a break from MGUI to work on some Blender. Is Qt immediate mode or not? Or retain mode? Because for my day job, I'm very, very used to retain mode UIs, and this is something altogether new. Okay. So I want this to feel more grand. So if we're walking here, okay, it can be here and then lots of vines. I want this to run up. This one to run up a little bit less. The idea being here that a long time ago there was a well-maintained secret path, secret entrance into the courtyard, but there isn't anymore, and there hasn't been for a long time, so it's very overgrown. And want some tree roots coming down here. Maybe like that. And what will we be able to see? So we'll be able to see like this, so we can rotate that way and that way. What is LGPL? Let me look it up. Oh, was it the GNU Lesser Public License? Why does that mean you can't do it on iOS? I'm Googling. Due to DRM and code signing restrictions and the requirement that end users must be able to modify and relink the LGPL component. Apple cannot legally distribute binaries that contain LGPL code. Oh. Oh, interesting. That's good to know. So, yeah, I'm trying to think. I want to have, let's do, so if we're walking in here like this will just be old grassy hills. So I'm thinking we're going to come out of the forest and we're going to find old, kind of like a knoll, a grassy knoll here, and then big tree root, maybe here. I'm going to block that out right now. Oops. Smink was saying automated assets pipeline was one of the reasons to making my game without the engine. I just want to save in Blender and scripts and do the rest of the job. Yeah, I really need to automate more of my assets pipeline. My husband, oh my gosh, he did this. It's this thing, which has been phenomenal. Let me find it here. Okay, so this is all. So I didn't show you this part, but once we have our objects as like FBX files, they're still not loaded into the game. So then you have to load them into the game. And we do that in the form of assets. And they need to be like listed here. They need to have views. And then you need to load them. So there was like 3 more steps you have to take after that. And he has made a script that will generate the code, the C++ code, that compiles for all of the asset loading, which is incredible. So this is auto-generated. So it's auto-generated based off of the manifest here. So whatever you have here will then go right into here. So then I used to have to do all of this by hand too, and that was like 10 steps for a texture file. But now it's pretty quick. It could definitely do with some more automation. The problem is it's one of those things where it's such a derailing from what I'm currently working on that yes, it would be a quality of life enhancement, but we have so many of those that I've learned to live without that I just don't know if it's worth it. All right, so I know I want a tree here. Kind of like when the hobbits are running away from the Black Rider. Right before they get to Bree. That giant that giant tree that they hide behind. I want something like that to wrap around. So we're just going to put the tree trunk here for now. Then, let's see. And the nice thing about this game... Hi, Galandable, welcome back! I'm back in action, baby. Streaming every other day, or probably 2 or 3 times a week. Something like that. I went on vacation, and then I went on a work trip, and then I took a week to recuperate. And here I am blocking out my level design for the entrance into the dungeon. Okay, so we're gonna have roots coming down here. And then this is just gonna be grass and kind of mud. Wonder how to make this more visually interesting. Let's start with the... It's always important to keep a little armature or a humanoid in there for scale, because I don't want things to get out of control. I really don't want this door to be that big. It's supposed to be a secret entrance. Make it a little skinnier. So I've been watching, oh, Glenville says, I had a 2-week work trip as well, and now I have 30,000 conflicting lines of code in my PR. Oh my god. How did that happen? 30,000? Why do you have PRs that have 30,000 files running at any given time? And Bone Circuit says, I have a script that reads the Blender file, RB, OB, SB, OBJ, and builds rigid and static bodies for those things. Oh, nice. Yeah. We don't automatically build rigid bodies for you. It'd be really cool to see what other people's game engines are looking like and what quality of life. Because we do have an editor. I haven't actually been using it. I probably will use it for now that I'm getting into level design, but so say I had my, let's get into the scene here. let's say I was working on building this dungeon scene out. Oh, excuse me. So I can do things like change the color and add, let's say, a cube, and then I can change to, let's say that I was working on like the Skelly, for example. Um, we can't do animations yet in the editor, but we can do quite a few things in there. So you rotate him around and then sink him down, and then we can save. And I don't have my scene wired up right now to load from this, but I certainly could. So when we were making our game for the game jam, we relied on the editor quite a bit, rather than what I've been doing currently, which is just going in the code behind and updating all the things manually. Oh, 80 bug fixing PRs in the engine while you were out? That sucks. Glenable, you work on O3DE, is that right? It's super cool. Yeah, that is a good idea, Bone Circuit. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting now that I'm getting more into I'm on a level design kick. How much nice to haves will we end up wanting to do so it doesn't get unwieldy? So how many maintainers are there? Oh, hey, Chili's. Welcome back. How many maintainers are there of the O3DE engine, Glandable? Are you one of the only ones, or is there like a team of a big team? Are you responsible for sifting through all of the AI slop that people are sending your way? That's presumptive of me. I don't know if people are using AI to code their submissions. All right, so I want the door to be centered, and then Chili's, what's new with you? Nice arch. Okay, then it should be here. So we're gonna have a big tree. Making games all day, every day. Nice, living the dream. Omika says, my editor's quite simple. I don't even have gizmos, just copied Blender hotkeys. Oh, whatever works. Okay. One vine. Trying to ring select has always been a major pain in Blender for me. Just the ring. Oh. Team of 80 people do the reviewing. That's huge. Yeah, I guess it's a huge project. Yeah. And Boneswork are saying that the concept is engine agnostic and you can read the Blender object list in any framework engine. Yeah, that's a good idea. And Mika said, once I was using Blender so much I was brushing my teeth and I brain rotted and thought I could just brush one side and, and the mirror modifier will do the rest. I have felt similar things from being in Blender for too long. When the peeps reviewing merge and close about 10 or so PRs a night. Holy cow. How many? So now I'm curious. Gladwell, did you say this is your job or is this just something you do for fun? How big is this guy? I know it's a huge project, but I don't know how actually big. Yeah, just do it for fun. That's awesome. Good for you. Let me see a FAQ. Oh my gosh, look at these nice roadmaps. Cool. Okay, we're gonna do one more vine. Just loosely blocking it out. Then lots or more root. So when we're standing here, what do I want to see there? I want to see we're in a forest, so I guess I'm going to see a boatload of trees. So let's do oops. I hate it when I make an object in edit mode and then it's part of an object I don't intend it to be. That drives me crazy. Okay, what I really want is more of a hill here. So let's extend you out. Then you. Can I go up like this? The nice thing that's going to make designing levels easier for this project is that you're going to have you can't freely move. And you might be able to look, I think you can look I'm planning that you can look 30 degrees to the left and to the right of the camera, which is not very much at all. So I don't actually have to model that much geometry. And you won't ever be able to freely move. You'll be like in a fixed perspective, and then you'll move forward once you defeat an enemy at a specific location. And then the trees will start here and go here, so we want these guys to really be at the same height. Okay. Yeah, I know about separating them. It's just a pain in the butt. All right. Now from here, we can have trees. I don't know what to do on this side because I suppose it's just going to be more trees, but I wonder if there's something more interesting I can do. This will be like our big eye catcher here. And we'll just have more hills and trees here. And then hills and trees there. Excuse me. All right. Sponsor was saying I use a technique called B-mesh skin modifier, and then I collapse that work to mesh later. Nothing wrong with box modeling work, just different methods. B-mesh skin modifier. I'm gonna look that up. Instant rigging for characters. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Do you do that for exteriors too? Like buildings and terrain and such? Oh, if you sent me a link, I can't. I don't know why, but YouTube doesn't do links, but you can put it in my Discord, which is linked below. I should be able to get it there. But yeah, I cannot see if you sent a link. I can't see it. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued because box modeling takes a very long time. And I've tried what is the I've experimented with meta balls, and that's kind of cool, but I found it was a little unwieldy for me. Maybe I just need to get better at it. So, I mean, I suppose we just go up. Well, I'm gonna smooth these out here. Kind of struggling with what to put here to make it interesting. Yeah, Bone Circuit, I can't see it if you're sending a link, but if you just type the name of it, I can Google it myself later. Fine. I've not ever used Dust 3D. Guess I'm just gonna put something here and I can get rid of it if I'm not happy with it later. Yeah, I just really don't want these to look as symmetric as they do. This is an old, maybe if I do, so it's an old tunnel built into the hill with a kind of a pathway carved into the wall, into the mountainside here, and we're in the middle of a forest. So it's going to be pretty symmetrical, but I'm going to have vines here and a bunch of trees. I better put those in there now because that's... So Glenville says, why not make or use a white boxing tool for terrain? I'm a lazy dev, so I do that instead of making stuff in Blender. What's a white boxing tool? Oh, it's white boxing is the process of creating rough, blocky 3D layouts. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And oh, yeah, I guess I just never have. Yeah, I guess simple answer, I never have. If you have a good free one, let me know. And Mika says, I like everything vanilla. I guess being a dependency hell for decades makes me hate to install add-ons. Yeah. I'm not afraid of add-ons. I really like... I think I'm stuck in a mode where I know how to do things the way that I know how to do them, and I'm very much open to trying new things, but it's like I'm probably wasting time that I could be more efficient if I spent more time looking at new tooling. But these days I have so little time that it's like what's the sunk cost fallacy maybe? Where I just keep going with what I know how to do rather than taking usually I have like an hour or two. And then I don't want to spend that hour or two like researching better ways to do it rather than just doing it. Although a balance is good because I'm sure there are like terrain editing tools and such that would save me time. Do you have any tools you recommend, Glenville? So they're going to be behind the ridge. They're not going to be coming out of here. I'm not against a good add-on for add-on's sake. So I bought an add-on that, what's it called? Cloth to shape keys. And then, so I think this was free actually. A cloth to shape keys add-on takes your cloth physics animations and then imports them into just a vector of shape keys. And that makes it super easy to, actually, I don't have shape key support checked into the engine, but I did a bunch of videos on getting shape key support. I just never finished actually merging it in. Because then I figured it, I guess I don't know why I never finished it. I got distracted. But then I also have this add-on to do, it's called Simply Cloth. And I had to pay for this one, but this helps you do cloth physics. Yeah, Glenville, you're right. I do enjoy what I'm doing quite a bit. Just dinking around in Blender. But if there is like, that comes with to a limit. Like if I'm doing something that that doesn't like take away my creative control, but saves me hours and hours and hours or days, then I'll certainly look into it. I was thinking today on why am I so against using AI in this project because I could get done a lot faster. And I realized it's because it's about the journey. And I could have, let's say in 2 years, when AI can 3D print you a Mona Lisa, a brand new Mona Lisa, I could have AI 3D print me a Mona Lisa, but why would I want to do that? What? Because I'm pretty sure that we like art because we like to connect with the human behind it. And with that being said, I mean, at some point, like, obviously it's not handmade all the way down because I didn't write the physics system that we use, and I didn't write the diligent graphics layer that we're using, but there is a line where you can see where the value gets lost when the human element is taken out, and it's somewhere between the coding and the art. Mostly I'm just doing this because it's very fun to make stuff. It's been kind of a bummer with the industry turning so much into like the fully agentic AI. Yeah, that makes sense. Bone Circuit said you lose provenance and copyright using current generative data sets. That makes sense. Oh, Mika says Bitwig. Oh, and Bone Circuit says Ant landscape plugin. Sweet. Mika also says switched OS from Pop OS to Cashy OS. I installed Playing Blender, GIMP, and Bitwin, and I'm good to go to continue with my game. Nice. Yeah, I don't want any slop on anything that I make. I'd much rather have something be somewhere like loosely on the spectrum between completely janky and masterful, depending on how lightning strikes, that I own completely, than have something that is AI generated. Because who is interested in that? I'm not. I'd much rather play someone's weird ass game that they made by hand. Okay, this. Let's copy and paste. See, there is a line. Like, I'm not going to individually place all of these trees. I'm going to copy and paste them. Okay, let's. All right, so that's just loosely the density of the forest is going to be back there. It's going to wrap around here. Deselect. Oh no. Okay, and then there's going to be some on this side. Okay, we got our trees, and I don't know how I feel about that at the moment, but I'll be working on level design until I get bored and switch back to MGUI. So probably this week and next week, um, for sure. But I've got to go for the night. Go to bed early, but I will be online, planning to be online Tuesday again. But I'll put a thing in Discord. All right, thank you all for joining. It's good to be back. I'll see you all soon.